There we go. Okay. Should be normal now. It's so weird having so many different screens and audios and things improving upon my content and yet also not. Okay. But hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Tartarus, chapter of Purgatory Corner. Today I'm your storyteller, Sinspeaks, and we're here with Ania, or Storyestry, which I really should type this first, but whatever. There we are. Cyril, Galmar, Dakota, and Sapphire. Rue's unfortunately not here today because she got thrown into work at the moment. Or not, yeah, Sapphire. No, Rue. Did I say Rue first? I think I said Rue first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think you did.
I stand by it. I think we should just have additional notes in the background that's just only visible if we're not around. That just trattles off about all the weird things we're doing when we're not here.
That's kind of cute, actually. I might do that at some point. Hi, Jessiad. Welcome to the stream. And hi everyone. Glad to see all of y'all here. Anyone want to do the recap from last time?
I did it last time. If no one wants to, I can do it again, but I'm happy to have someone else do it.
I mean, dang, basically all I can say happened is we finished off our individual dreams with envy, followed by being set up against doppelgangers, or shadowy doppelgangers of each of us, for which we basically nuked to death.
Fucking Rue annihilating them with a goddamn upcharged fireball.
Max damage upcharge.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I believe that y'all get 4th level spells this level.
Yes, I can only cast one.
Imagine if Rue upcasts her fireball to 4th level and maxes the damage.
Cries of non-caster.
Alright, but yes, that is effectively what happened. Y'all fought against your own doppelgangers. There was the Hunger for Dar, which Dakota used, which was basically a tentacle pit of hell and torture, which then got hit by a fireball and got hit by fairy lights from Cyril. And so it was a shiny, glowy mass of dark, writhing tentacles that were also on fire, which were breaking, absorbing, swallowing, and squishing all the shadow versions of each of you, which were almost perfect copies as well, which means that all of you guys got to hear the lovely telltale sound of your own screaming. As unfortunate and extremely traumatizing as that would almost certainly be for at least half of you guys. But you guys eventually made it out of the mirror after you guys had met the I suppose owner of the mirror, Envy, one of the 7 sins. Which you guys know that there are obviously a shit ton of demons and angels and all that other fun stuffs from various different sources of knowledge. And so you guys would know that there being high-powered demons is not an unnatural thing. But the fact there are 7 of them, you guys only know that one is Envy and one is, I believe...
Sloth.
Yeah, Sloth.
Sloth is the ship one.
Mm-hmm. After having that conversation, you guys eventually ended up outside of the mirror, inside of the tent. No one's really around you guys. You guys were piled on top of each other for one reason or another, as you guys are slowly waking up and kind of coming to your senses and stepping away from the mass pile of yourselves. You guys just kind of looking at each other, trying to regain your knowledge of the world as it was and feeling around the area. So feel free.
I think I'm beginning to understand what she meant. I hate clouds too.
Ania definitely gets away from the pile. She does not like the pile. And she finds a little ways off and she's checking, make sure all her belongings are there, and there's no one else in the room. Even the
Nope.
other guy?
Another guy had seemed to have left. It's from what you can tell by the little amount of sunlight that is going through the tent entrance and stuff. It's probably been a couple of hours, you would say.
Okay.
You would say. But yeah, no one else is in there at the moment aside from you six.
Ania is pretty uncharacteristically quiet. She is off by herself in the room, regaining her bearings and all that.
Mhm.
Just to check, is there only one way out?
There is only one way. I mean, technically it's a tent, so it's a you could
We
carve
can
your
make
way
our
out.
own way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is
Okay.
only one proper entrance, yes.
Okay.
And the rest of y'all, Dakota?
Think. Okay. Sorry. Can I get some clarification on what's happening currently?
You're you all woke up basically on top of one another, and Ania moved off to the side. You would be on top of Cyril and Gelmar essentially, with like Sapphire basically like having been laid down next to you as well. And you all kind of waking up. You're standing up away from each other a little bit.
I think Dakota would just kind of be like rolling off, like trying to get his bearings and stand up and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, ugh. Where are we? Just looking around and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Just inside the same tent that you guys were in before you jumped in the mirror. The mirror is about 6 or 7 feet away from you guys, covered with a cloth. It's about a 3-foot tall mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Cyril, Gelmar, what are you two doing?
Yelmar's just going to look up at his runes, see that they're discharged, toss them aside, before proceeding to reach down and grab a bunch of stray stones, and he's going to start carving out new runes.
Gilmore, those are not rocks.
Just random rocks on the ground. What are you talking about? How he said is already halfway into carving his first one. Notably, there is one extra stone there. He does not usually make this many runes.
Okay.
Drew strikes my gun.
Fair, fair.
Ania's. Oh.
Hmm?
Go ahead, Cyril.
It would seem we are alone.
Ania's going to stay quiet, and she's just walking around the mirror investigating it.
No.
Now that you mention it, that is a little unusual, though. You'd think that if they had any sort of hope that we might... Or unless that just means that they had no hope for us surviving in there. Still, you'd think that they'd have someone on watch in case we did.
How big is this tent?
Probably like 10 feet across, 10, 15 feet across
Feet
or something.
across?
Yeah.
All
Not
right.
particularly large tent. It's probably like 8 feet tall, so you have to hunch a little bit if you try to stand to your full height.
I'm gonna sit up and just kind of focus for a bit,
Mhm.
trying to feel out with my blind sight if there's anybody there trying to be, I guess, cheeky with invisibility.
You cannot feel anyone in the room, but you can tell there's a couple people probably 10 or so feet away from the entrance of the tent who is it seems like they're guards more or less, just kind of like talking with one another. Very low voices, you can't hear anything, but you can definitely sense their presence.
We're not entirely. there are 2 guards just a little bit away from the way in.
Well, that makes me feel a little better. He's just finishing off his first rune, complete with the magic paste east over the sigil.
Nice. Sapphire, are you doing anything in particular at the moment?
I was thinking about just stepping aside.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Um,
And
Oh, is Sapphire trying to step outside?
yeah.
oh, okay.
Ania
you-
will interrupt. She's like, don't go out yet.
Why not? They're just waiting for us.
And she'll look at Cyril and then look to the mirror and be like, what do we do about that?
Currently, it's trapped. And I get the feeling that in our current state, it may be beyond us.
I do agree about that. The entity said you were trying to hunt them, though? Are we just gonna leave it here?
I think the bright side is we know where it is. And we know that it's also scared of Roderick.
Oh, it's... I asked it what Roderick was afraid of, and she told me.
Oh?
What was her answer?
She said that Roderick's scared of not getting revenge for something that happened. So not like a direct fear.
So his number one fear is that he doesn't achieve his goal. I suppose that makes sense,
Basically.
but still doesn't really feel like it leaves us with much to work with.
I did? So, well, I guess if it's just here, it's not a problem. I asked if she was gathering energy for whatever it is, but she just said that she's gathering energy only for herself. That seems loophole-ish, though. I do agree that I think unless we're capable of just breaking the mirror, then whatever it is a little bit beyond what we can manage.
Right. But... And Cyril's actually going to walk up next to the mirror here.
Mhm.
And he's going to remind me again with the sending stones. Can I use them on someone that doesn't have a sending stone?
Yeah. So with the sending stones, you can either use them to connect to another sending stone, which doesn't use its charges, or you can use it as a sending spell, which will make it inert until the next sunrise.
I'm going to use the sending stone.
Okay.
Because I know sending can cut across time, space, and dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And in primordial, because I want to see something. So everybody else hears Cyril pull the the stone from his pocket and start speaking in this like raspy guttural language into the stone, and he whispers into it, I will be coming back to finish this job.
Ooh. Let's see. Sending shit. Sorry, dropped my phone
Sending
for a second.
spell has a 5% chance of failure if sending to a creature outside of the current plane. However, the individual will immediately hear the message in its mind and can respond immediately with up to 25 words of their own.
Okay. Sarah, roll me a 1d100 if you'd like.
I mean, you could also just roll a d20. Failure is it's the nat 1.
That's true. Yeah, feel free to roll me a 1d20.
But 1d100 is so cool.
I know. The 100 hasn't gotten any love.
You know, that's a good point. We haven't given
can
our
do
sweet,
either. It
sweet
doesn't
love
make any
to
difference.
the big ass number. Feel free to roll me that big ass number. It'd be really funny if you get a natural 1. 1 through 5 will be a failure. All right. Well, you got almost middle.
Well, message way made it.
Yeah, that'll make it. You send the message, and you can tell that it goes through all the way, and you simply get a message back that says, "If you come for me, that's 5. Do it when my power is low, or you will not survive." And then message ends.
Noted. I mean, I can't say anything back. So.
Yeah. But you
can
just
take someone
see-
else's stone.
Yeah, you could.
No, I'm gonna leave it at that because we might need these at some point. As much as Ania hates getting messages in her brain.
You can take Ania's. She doesn't want it.
And to be fair,
Yeah.
these do recharge at dawn.
Yeah.
Let me just take the one you hate, and let me just. I'm just waiting for the day that one of you guys takes a Nia stone and then sends a message to a Nia using.
Oh my
Does
gosh.
Cyril share?
So Cyril, I turn away from the mirror and looking at the rest of the party. There, I think that message was well received.
What was it?
Just wanted them to know that we would be back and enjoy their company. They were ecstatic, so vocal.
Ania somewhat believes this and does not question further.
I don't understand why we'd want to return to a clown, but okay.
Well, I don't think you have to, but me and Cyril, from the dreams we got, I think we're supposed to do something about her.
Oh?
I wasn't really told to do anything specific. I was just told that there are 7 entities that are gathering power for a much larger entity who is very not good. And
Y'all were
she's
given
one of them.
directions?
Well, Cyril was pointed to the boat.
Yes. Currently, the one eye is fixed on Sloth, it seems.
Mm.
Sloth?
Yes.
As in the animal?
No, as in the sin.
Right. Dakota has no idea what you're talking about.
You know, I read this in my book one day.
It was the plot of the 8th Dakota Rider book.
They had to go underground. They fought these like weird cheese biscuits. It was crazy, yo.
Is this something that I would know enough to give like an explanation of, or should I roll for this?
I would say roll to know the general concept. You wouldn't know all 7 specifically or anything like that, but you would probably know to some degree about devils and their general heritages. So feel free to roll a history check on that.
Am I able to, or is that out of my wheelhouse?
I would say roll it as well. Your DC's a little bit higher though.
Okay.
Hold on,
History, you said?
can I roll?
You would not, because the books you would have read would have been more fantasy than it would have been reality. So you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Oh my god.
Gilmore has never read a text that includes these sorts of stories.
A little bit better.
Oh,
No, not
man,
enough, I don't think.
You know what? I'm gonna use the inspiration point I have here.
yeah. All right, feel free.
I might as well. Oh, come on.
Did it get even lower?
Are you freaking kidding me, Foundry? What the crap?
What's wrong with Foundry, man?
I forget, who of us has inspiration points? Did just Cyril get one? How many- do you
I
have
believe
any?
Cyril had one. I think Dakota had one, and I think you had one, Ania.
Okay, I'll have to put that down somewhere.
Yeah, I think on your sheet.
Yeah, there's this D20 image in the upper right corner by the
upper left.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I clicked it.
And if you have that, yeah, it just turns blue. And then if you have it, it's yeah.
Oh, okay. So if it's glowing, I have inspiration. If it's not, I don't. Can I only get one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I should
Special
actually
type
be encouraged to use them.
More or
It's a
less.
special type of inspiration, specifically from DMs. Bards get a different variety.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't recall if I made it 3, but I think I usually keep it at 1 if I recall. I don't think I usually use it all that much, so probably
Yeah, we
1
can keep
is
one.
normal.
Let's keep it at 1.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Cyril says the weird demonic, or not quite demonic, but the weird unearthly sentence that would probably have just sounded absolutely mind-boggling to all of you, with the exception of
Me.
Sapphire. Sapphire actually understood every word that you said. But yeah, all that weird verbiage, and then it all just kind of goes a little bit quiet, and you all just stare at this cloth over this mirror.
Okay. Ania will look back to Sapphire and be like, okay, now you can go out.
Okay, I take a step outside.
You just slide over to the left, and as you step outside, you see a couple of guards who are just kind of chatting with one another. They seem to be trading some kind of cards of sort with each other, and then you like step outside, and they both slowly turn to you with like a slightly confused look. And the first thing that the female says, there's a male and a female, and I think they would both be human. The female like looks at you, and first thing she says is, "Did you find the clowns?"
Sure.
Ania goes outside so she can remember what the clown person looks like for future endeavors.
Mm-hmm. It's a short-ish, probably around your size, I would say, probably 5'6" brown-haired human. She has a leaf body type, so she mostly just has a very thin build. But she has a great axe on her back, which is bigger than she is. And she has a scar going from one eye, like from her forehead down past one eye all the way to her chin, and her eye is cloudy. Hi, Miru. Welcome in. She like looks at you and she's like, "Killed the fucking clowns, didn't you?" Yeah.
I don't think any of us were scared of clowns.
Damn.
I think I faced one. I think I understand why you don't like them.
You saw one?
Isn't that what she was?
She didn't quite look like what you would imagine a clown would be, but she was terrifying as shit.
To be fair, Gelmar has no idea what a clown is.
Yeah. So honestly, for
No.
you, that very well could have been a clown.
No, I don't think she was dressed as a clown.
And now it's a dress style? This is such a confusing prospect.
Have you never been to a circus?
Oh, what now?
I'll burn down the
my-
next one I see.
Oh, and I thought I was the sheltered one.
And she says that with absolute pity.
Oh, fucking brutal. Goddamn. The guy standing next to him, he's still holding out one of the cards as the girl hasn't taken it. And he's just like, I'll never understand the whole clown fixation you people have. Anyways, if you're all awake, or are there bodies for us to take?
Oh, we're all alive.
Oh. Huh. Damn. Oh well.
Did you want work to do?
Excuse me?
No, it's just easier if you die to it, then we just don't have to worry about it too much.
Just wraps his arm in a serious expression, lowers his head to his perspective, and just starts glaring at him.
Right. I'm glad you're alive. Yeah, we're so happy to see you. Please let go of me.
Oh no, he didn't wrap around him. He just wrapped his arms into a serious perspective,
Oh, okay.
Was he just crossing his arms?
Yeah.
He's like,
Okay.
oh yeah, yeah, we appreciate that you're alive. Take my fucking card. And Shake grabs the card and he's like, all right, bye. And he walks away.
Glad to hear it. He calls as he leaves.
The girl shuffles the cards in her hand before putting into one of her pouches. And he's like, all right, so all you chums, you good? You time to follow me, or it's on you crying from the clowns? Took me 2 days. 2 fucking days.
Yes, we heard about your endeavor in there.
I see another one.
I would like to hear more details about it. It sounds most impressive.
Oh, absolutely. See, when I went in there, she just kind of turns around and starts walking towards the main castle area, clearly expecting all of you to follow her and not giving a shit if you do.
Yeah, I mean, Gelmar's going. He wants to hear this story.
Neo follows.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. Is there a Boblin the Goblin that I can go visit to just derail the whole thing?
Unless you want to go follow the guy who walked away speedily. No?
No, Cyril will actually make sure that he follows along on at the tail end of the group.
Okay. And Sapphire, I'm assuming you're following along too?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you guys are walking, and she's clearly not paying attention to, any of you aside from maybe Gelmar as she was walking, but she's just like, yeah, so when I walked into that thing, you see, I've had a great deal of passion about clowns for most of my life so far. I grew up inside of a circus. Hence, she grabs out the great axe, which, again, is at least, half a foot taller than she is. This thing is fucking huge. It almost puts Gelmar's to shame. She's like, I used to use this, and I used to juggle with them, so it's I'm really good at what I do. But there were some clowns in there. There was one clown, his name was Billy Bob. We never really found out his actual name. It was just a name that one of the kids decided to give him, and he just stuck with it for a long time. But Billy Bob, oh boy, Billy Bob. As she just starts walking up some stairs, and it's a long staircase as you guys walk in this, really astonishing castle that's, filled with all kinds of memorabilia, all kinds of interesting snake items, all kinds of weapons, armor, and so on. And she's just climbing some stairs, and she's like, so Billy Bob one day, he kind of went stir crazy, came up to me with a knife, And so, yeah, he started stabbing me. And he got like 2 or 3 good shots in before I broke his nose and his arm and his leg. And then I took every one of his toes and I broke each and every single one of them. Then he stabbed me again, so I took the knife and shoved it down his throat. But that's besides the point. So when I came over here and they told me I had to do this whole task in order to meet the king and stuff like that, they're like, you have to go and face your greatest fear. And I said, I don't fear shit. And they said, ha! So they put me into the test thing, and the last thing I knew, there was 100 Billy Bobs. Oh, every single Billy goddamn Bob. And she like slams her gray axe into the wall as you guys are going up. You hear the wall creaking from the force of it before she pulls it out and puts it back and just keeps walking. She's like, but I killed them. I killed each and every single one of them. I counted 184 goddamn Billy Bobs, each one of them screaming their goddamn lungs out. Now I'd grab their nose, I would squeeze, and they would go honk, each and every single fucking one. Oh, it's like having geese all around you, climbing around you, like goddamn spiders, but they're geese, and the geese, as she turns around and looks at Gelmar and puts her hands on his shoulders, it's like they're geese clowns.
Geese. Sounds delicious.
If only they tasted
Clowns are people, Gilmore.
Right.
Well, it's finally let free. She turns around again, starts walking. They say, you guys have gone up like 200 steps at this point. She's like, once I came back and we finally got inside, it took me 2 days. 2 days, every time I'd go to sleep, I'd remember the damn clowns and their honking noses. They would just go honk, and then they would start talking to me. Billy Bob's circus full of freaks. You guys finally got to the top of the stairs as she's just continuously ranting about Billy Bob and his freak show circus. And you guys eventually get to 2 giant doors. These things are 30 feet tall. They're huge doors. As she steps in front of it, and then her entire expression just kind of changes. She's like, anyways, that was my story about the clowns and Billy Bob and his shitty house freaks. We're here, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was a lovely story. Sounds like you've seen inconsiderable battle.
There's no battle more terrifying than Billy Bob and his circus of freaks.
Maybe.
No battle.
But from what I've been told, few individuals face their fears and come out on top. Bobby says, with a fist pump.
Yeah. Oh, I came out on top, alright. They all fucking died. What?
What's your name again?
My name's Alexandria.
Nice to meet you.
Anyway, so we're here now.
Do we just go in?
Legitimately, she takes a moment to like pause and think about it. She's like, I don't know, actually. Never really brought anyone this far before. Huh.
Is
Are the
this
doors
like-
closed?
Yeah.
Is it like an office or is it like a big room? Should we knock?
This is the throne room of the castle.
We should probably knock.
I guess that would be a smart plan. Yeah. She pulls out her gray axe and throws it at the door.
Oh my god.
You guys hear a resounding thump throughout the entire area. Yeah, okay, he's probably good. She rips her gray axe out of the door and puts on her back. She's like, alright, feel free. As she pushes one of the doors, and it swings open by like a foot.
I just see in my head, here's Johnny!
Yeah. But it only swings open by about a foot. These things are fucking heavy as hell from the sounds of it. She's like, well, feel free to walk in. I'll stay out here. I don't really have much else to do, so I'll pretend these walls are clowns, and I'll start killing each and every goddamn one of them. Have fun!
Well, thank you for regaling us with the story and showing us the way.
Oh yeah,
Perhaps
no problem.
Perhaps sometime later we'll be able to swap our one-on-one, if that's all right.
That'd be pretty fun. I might kill you, especially if you look like a clown. If you have a red nose, oh, I'll rip it off of you.
That seems a little extreme, but whatever you say. He says as he turns and steps into the building.
All right. Do the rest of you step in with him?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you guys step into this massive area. This is roughly what it looks like. You guys walk into this probably like 30, 40, maybe even 50-foot tall ceilings. It's a huge throne room. The ground is shockingly smooth compared to deterioration of most of the other areas. There's banners all over which have snake insignias, fabric that has been torn and ripped and eaten through, but for the most part still regal looking. There's a massive mural behind where the throne would normally sit, and it is just all kinds of different snakes and snake-like creatures, and weirdly enough it looks like it's a town in the background of this mural that's like people connecting with one another, interacting with one another, all kinds of races that you can see, but heavy importance on the snakes. And where the throne would normally be, instead you guys see a massive 10-foot long coffin. And on top of the coffin is this man. Hold on a moment. Show the players. Is this man. He looks like he's probably in his mid-30s, roughly. He has a very nice scruffle, as well as a small beard growing in. He has shoulder-length brown hair, weird eyes that you guys can see. You can't quite tell the coloration of it. He has a full metal outfit kind of going on, aside from some of his chest area, which looks to be a mixture of cloth, leather, and a little bit of metal every now and again. And he has a sword strapped to his side, which one hand is resting on, and he's holding a staff with the other one. And this staff is a beautiful, beautiful staff. Probably around 5 or 6 feet tall. It is basically it looks like if you took a snake, stretched it out, and just made it sit upwards. Specifically a cobra face at the top of it, it looks like. Inscribed with all kinds of jewels, from diamonds to emeralds for the eyes, to rubies dotted around the middle of it, to even some diamonds on like the bottom of it and such. And he's just, sitting there, looking at the door. Even though he's, looks to be in his mid-30s, he's like kind of hunched over a little bit, and he just looks tired as he's like looking at your group. And his voice echoes through the chamber as you guys can hear it as if he was standing next to you. Welcome. Who might you lot be? I've heard you've taken the test of, shall we say, courage.
Cyril's gonna kind of look around at everybody else in the group, see if anybody's looking to like start the conversation.
Though normally Ania would, she's still being weirdly quiet. She may come off as like rattled by the whole experience still. So she will talk if someone like gives her an elbow or something, but right now she's letting someone else lead.
I mean, I guess Gelmar technically was the first person in, so
Mhm.
we did indeed. It was quite the unusual prospect. Apologies. We're here to discuss peace in a manner of speaking.
Peace, huh? Well, there's not a whole lot of that's been going around lately. It's nice to see folks with a similar mindset. He kind of like stands up, and you can see him favoring his I suppose cane or staff rather heavily as he's walking towards you guys. And
Which side?
Right side. His sword's
Make
on
up.
his left. And he starts kind of walking towards you guys very slowly. And he's like, "So, what can I do for you?"
I'm just sitting here sweating, remembering I'm not exactly the best with speech in real life.
Can I insight check this seeming tired old man, 30-year-old act?
You're more than welcome to.
And you will be looking at the memorabilia for a little bit.
Okay. Oh, you can all feel even without a oh, nine's pretty nice. You can all feel without even our crown check. His staff is radiating energy. And by radiating, I mean it's a physical pressure over the entire room, effectively. It has more magical presence than almost any other relic you guys have ever seen in your life. And especially for Dakota and Ania, or specifically for Dakota, that would be impressive. Ania, in character, would you have ever gone to see Seraphina's spellbook?
Like when I was a kid, or
Yeah.
would that be allowed to elven children?
It would be in the library. It's just under heavy security. So you could have gone to see it. Most people can. Most people just choose not to.
Oh, if it's in the library, I probably saw it.
Okay. That spellbook, even while closed, has a physical aura to it that's almost like it puts a couple pounds of pressure on your back. It's still lighter than this staff. The staff itself is making you all feel kind of like, I got something on my back kind of pushing me a little bit. It's not particularly, forcibly pushing you down or anything like that, but it's a weight, definitely.
Got
You
it.
might say we've never felt this level of spiritual pressure before.
Just a little.
Bleach.
But he's just walking towards you. Cyril, you can tell the way he's acting, the way he's walking, this is how an old man walks. He looks young, but he is definitely walking and acting and you can kind of look into his eyes, you can kind of see past the physical. He is old.
Ah. No. This might be a tad rude, but hopefully I can talk my way through being slightly rude. As I walk up to him, my eyes flash a bright green under my helmet, and I'm going to just activate Divine Sense. I just want to see if I'm dealing with like a celestial fiend or, God forbid, an undead.
Let me double check that real quick. Where is that?
Would the others be able to tell since Cyril's in front of them, or is this like totally under the table?
Like Roderick would be able to tell.
Yeah.
Cyril's eyes suddenly glow a bright green.
I think because all you guys are
anybody
behind him, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. You could probably you can tell he usually tends to walk forward before he uses this for some reason. So you could probably be able to tell if you recognize that. But aside from that, the only thing that changes is his eyes.
Okay.
Let's see.
Just like a nat 20. You roll might catch a very, very, very slight glow coming from the underside of his helmet.
Very much. Let's see. You while looking at him, it's specifically celestial, fiend, or undead. While you're looking at him, your eyes, you're looking at him, and those three are typically quite distinct. Undead is usually black, fiend is usually red, and angelic is usually white. That usually tends to be the variation of colors that you tend to kind of infer based on their presence. As you are looking at him, you can't tell what color it is, and it's a spiral.
See.
You physically cannot make out what the fuck you are looking at. Ah. A paladin?
I apologize for the intrusion. It's a terrible habit I haven't been able to break in a very
If you hadn't, I would have been insulted. Stepping into arena without knowing who your opponent is the most foolhardy mistake one can make.
You seem tired. Have we interrupted something?
I'm always tired, my boy. No. It has been a few long, long years.
Now that oh,
Hmm?
now
Yeah, you
that
can go ahead.
there's some context that Cyril did something, Ania is now paying attention. She's like, God dang, we just entered here. What are you doing? But she's now more alert.
Mhm. So again, I ask, what can I do for you? You've clearly passed my test. You have walked into an encampment full of hundreds of bandits with seemingly no fear upon thy face, and yet I have nothing to offer you as it stands currently.
Well, actually, it would be more along the lines of what we may be able to offer you. Depending.
You walked into a bandit camp, went through a trial all the way to get to the leader of the entire army, the king of the castle, just to offer your assistance? Like random mercenaries? Impressive.
Call it a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Oh.
Let's just say we may have a deal, so to speak. We were originally sent out this way because of the current disturbance being caused by what would suppose essentially amount to a turf war between yourself and some sort of upstart.
Aye, there has been a great thorn in our side the last couple of months.
Right. Now, I won't lie. There is some benefit for us.
Of course there
Outside
is.
our
You wouldn't be
assistance.
up here if there wasn't.
But I believe at least restoring the status quo may stem the tide of potential intruders on your kingdom, I suppose you call it.
Ania
Aye.
will step forward to talk.
He looks down at you and you can see a flash across his eyes for a second, but it quickly passes.
Can I insight that? Or is that like a
100%.
magic sense?
I'll insight that too. Horrible insight, but let's do it.
Yeah!
God
flip!
fucking
Oh, dang.
damn.
Oh my god!
Yeah!
I'm sorry.
Oh, there
You
we
have the
go.
eyes of God, I swear.
You can feel you staring into his soul. You now know his deepest memories.
So Ania would 100% have gotten this. The other, both of you two, you see him look at Ania, and from his body language, like you see him like twitch ever so slightly, but that means you have no idea. Ania, you know exactly what kind of movement this man made. Is the movement that you've only seen happen a couple of times. And it's the movement that your mother would make every single time that your father would come into view. Is the moment that your brain is trying to register that you are something that you're not. That they know that you're something else, and it takes that moment, that flicker, for them to replace that visual image with your new form rather than your old. From what you can tell, that moment that he looked at you and his eyes flashed, it was him trying to basically realize, oh, you're pretending to be a half elf.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Or elf.
full elf, yeah. An elf. Essentially, you could just see him basically say to you, oh, I know what you are.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and you'll pause, then look at him and give this sort of dissatisfied frown, sort of like trying to say she knew what that was, but she doesn't. She also doesn't say anything, and quickly recovers and just starts talking.
Mm-hmm.
And she is just like, "I know, you know, I know."
But do you know that I know that you know that you know that I
know? So she just starts talking and just.
We heard from the person who came to pick us up from the parley with the captain that there's been a series of kidnappings. That is the situation you were dealing with. Our quest from Haven was originally to do reconnaissance or try to settle this dispute because Haven's not really happy with it. But they didn't really say we had to actually do anything. But if we can offer assistance to take care of this kidnapping for you, we would be happy to without giving you any trouble.
I would appreciate that. The town of Stillwater is an important one to me. It's somewhere that I have fond memories of, and the citizens there trust me, and having them be stolen under the guise of night or even the dead of the day is an insult to me and all of my protection I lay down for that town. But again, my question remains unanswered. What can I do for you?
Permission to investigate in any knowledge you've acquired toward that, and would be very appreciated. We wouldn't want to go investigating into a town of yours without your blessing, you could say.
Well, if you can solve whatever thorns are sticking in my side, I would appreciate that greatly, miss. You seem quite a bit smarter than the usual strays that I find.
Ania will look back towards the others to see if they have anything to add.
Cyril will step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there is a significant interest that we have in perhaps eliminating your new competition.
Oh?
Yes.
And what do you know of it?
Well, so far, not a great deal. If they are who I think they are, then it is vital that we get to the bottom of it much sooner than later. However, being only 6 of us, we may need some assistance.
Well, you're always welcome to take Alexandria. She doesn't see much combat nowadays, but
I would probably request potentially more depending on the reconnaissance.
Depends on how you wish to go about it. You are not a, let's say, difficult sight to see. And too big of a group going to too small of an area is very easy to avoid, especially for master assassins.
Well, you see, I think that's part of my point. If you can provide enough of a distraction, depending on how big of a distraction we need, we may be able to. Looks around the room. If you'll forgive the turn of phrase, cut the head from the snake.
Oh, trust me. I may enjoy the relics of the past, but the snakes of the present, well, they are not ones I am particularly fond of. I see that you have, he looks around the group, 3 of elven kind. How affiliated are you with them?
You mean with the kingdom or with elves in general?
Above game, if Galmar were to turn around, would he only see one? Or technically 2, Ania and Sapphire. He doesn't know what Cyril is.
Well, Rue.
Yeah, Rue's a half elf.
Sorry, my bad. Yes, you're right, my bad.
You're good. But he's like, I was referring to the palace itself, but any connection with the elven kind is, let's say, difficult considering.
We've spoken with the Haven ambassador, but she's not very well liked among her kind.
She's a stubborn bitch for sure.
And India will laugh. she surprise laugh, or she didn't really mean to, but she does have a small laugh.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We are more affiliated with Haven than we are with the kingdom. In fact, I'm not entirely sure any of us have actually been to the kingdom yet.
I have.
That's right, I forgot.
I grew up there.
Yes, that would seem to be the case. That's right.
Cyril's memory. He's so old.
Old man.
He's like,
Ania hears in her head, I was trying to leave that.
Neil just squint, not like bad, because it's a reactionary squint, and then she lets it go because that's a good point.
Ever been myself?
I prefer the mountains of the east.
Interesting. And you, miss, your connection to the elves are... Looking at you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to Sapphire, and Neil will be like,
Well, I grew up there when I was a child. We moved over to Haven after a little bit of time, though.
Now he'll look at Sapphire. And you notice he spends a little bit of time looking at her hair first, before looking down to her eyes. Do you have affiliation with the elves?
Yes and no. I'm a half elf, so by lineage, yes, but I don't know much past that.
Well, unfortunately, we are bound to the shackles of our lineage, so I will not hold that against you. Elves are... well, they've been brutal to my kind, so I do not have the highest of respect for them. No offense, miss. He looks at Nia.
and Neil will give a bow.
What elves
A
are...
respectful bow.
Disconnected from this to a degree. They have been hounded after by the high elves as much as my kind has as well. What do you all know of the story of... I now have to look at the name of it on. I have it on the map. I just forgot its name. Let me move out to the world map real quick. It is called... The Story of Zothis. I don't think any of you know of this area except for Nia, who has walked past it before.
Which area?
Zarthos.
Zarthos, okay.
It's to the right of the Star Shadow Kingdom.
Gilmore just
should
like
I-
blurts out the name now.
You can roll me history, Nia, as to what you remember walking past it. None
I
of
was
you.
very
Jesus
young.
fucking Christ!
Yes.
My eyes, my memory.
She's ascending characterhood. She's approaching godhood.
fucking.
Nia just pushes
Cyril,
her glasses up her nose. Well,
Cyril
Well, you
gets the
see.
fucking nat ones constantly,
Let me
and Nia
tell
gets
you.
all of the nat 20
Except in combat.
except in combat. Holy crap! Okay.
And a musical instrument.
And music.
Well, that, yeah.
So-
Musical instruments for Sapphire.
Let's see. So, now I have to think about the fuck you would know in the nat 20.
You can say that she has some stuff she's familiar with, but she can't think of it at this time. If you want time to like come up with it. But she knows that she just needs some time to like go into her mind later.
Yeah. You have never read a single piece of media of any form, books or anything else like that, about Zarthos. It has never once popped up in any form of media. Period. No verbiage, no wordage. The only thing that you have ever seen about Zarthos, which is very strange because you even know fairy tales of things that are often not talked about. Even the Yuan-ti are talked about in terms of fairy tales. But the only thing you've ever seen about Zarthos is when you walked past it with your mother. And the reason that you walked past it could be pretty much anything, but it was probably on a way to get to the boats or whatever, taking a very large detour. But it's a very difficult place. It is. Do you know what happens when you burn stone? When you heat stone up to a high enough degree?
Does it
It turns
melt?
into magma.
Pretty much. It turns into slag. So it's like a partially melted, partially still formed piece of stone, which kind of turns into magma, kind of doesn't, depends on the stone composite. But essentially, if you took a big castle, shall we say, and you heat it up enough, you would actually melt it into a weird, almost dome thing, which is like shiny rock that still has some of its rock look, but it's in no way, shape, or form looking like a castle anymore. When you were walking past Zarthos, for one reason or another, maybe it was when you were a kid, you were exploring, maybe your mother showed you it, maybe it was, something you just decided to explore, whatever may be the case, you remember it quite distinctly because it radiated magic. The same magic feeling that you got from Rue throwing that fireball is what you felt standing about a mile away from this essentially carcass of a ruins. It looks like someone slagged an entire city. And when you're standing that far from it, you can still feel not only the magical pressure, but also the sheer quantity of heat that radiates onto you. Is the one place in the entirety of Elysian Glade that people avoid naturally. And is the most uncomfortable place to be around because it legitimately feels like the sun itself slammed into this area and melted it.
Okay. Ania will think, and she'll get this faraway look as she thinks briefly back on Rue's fireball
Mhm.
and sort of imagining a few things, and then she'll speak up.
I believe I walked past it as a child.
and I apologize for the feeling you may have gotten. It used to be my home. Long time ago. Let's see. Actually, hold on. Cyril, give me a history check. I don't remember how often you would have gone to Lycian Glade. I don't think it would have been very often, if ever. But
Not particularly. Cyril, unless it was for a particular mission or something like that.
all right, give me a high DC history check. In that case.
Come on. Yeah, there we go. Back to the consistency.
Would Dakota have walked past it?
He gave the glade a
Oh my
wide
God.
berth as regularly as he could.
Actually, would I have passed it?
That's a good question. You know what? Roll me a again high DC history check.
Come on, give me the good stuff.
Oh wow.
Oh, there's the good stuff.
There's the
Let's
good stuff.
go.
You have walked past it exactly once, and that would have been probably after you had met the other warlock.
Yeah.
Darius? Is that his name?
Varys.
Darius. Or Varys.
What?
Yeah, Varys. I was thinking D for some reason, I don't recall. He had basically told you that it was magical energy, specifically fire magical energy, which you can, again, would have felt the heat pressing against you, essentially. Even he doesn't know the whole story, even he never told you the whole story, but he essentially said that it was a town that got melted. And then he would have dropped it and walked away.
Yeah.
But Cyril, you do not remember this town in any way, shape, or form. You've never heard of it. You've never really been to Lycian Glade. It must have been before your time, for sure.
Old man.
Old man. But yeah, he kind of a far off look in his eyes as he says that it used to be his home.
Ania will give a respectful bow and
I'm sorry for your loss. That must have been horrible, even if you weren't present at the time.
It was a difficult thing to endure. I was a child when it happened. What do you all know of the Yonti?
Above game, would I remember or would I know that it's a snake-like person or person with snake traits? Not much beyond it being a person with traits of a serpent.
Ania will bow her head again and she'll say,
I am a druid of the stars, and I started this journey because I've gotten a vision of the Yonti.
I see.
We were told ghost stories about them.
Hey, Sin.
Mhm.
Even I want to do an insight on his response to that.
100%.
Crap.
You don't get much from him. Nah, ghost stories and the boogeyman are often the only ones ever told by the palace. Would you like to know the truth?
Ania perks up immediately and maybe too quickly says, yes!
Ah. Your lack of affiliation does show, child.
She blinks at that. She's not totally... She does not know what to make of that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of like taps his staff on the ground, and you guys can feel strange energy start to flow out across the room, and it kind of flows out into a dome of sorts, and you can see the entire room turning black all around you. Oh,
Sorry, my bad. That was an accident.
you're good. But you can see the room kind of goes black around you, as if he just basically forced all of you into a bubble of sorts. It's like, no worries, children. This is simply a viewing spell I created many years ago. Easier than trying to explain it. And he waves his staff again, and you can see the world around you kind of like spins a little bit. And events start passing through the area. It's years at a time, essentially, where you guys can see forests growing and shrinking and growing again, and time flowing backwards, almost literally, until it gets to a point where you guys are now inside of a small town, and around you are all kinds of individuals. You see elves, high elves, and wood elves. You see half elves, you see humans, and you see half humans and half snakes. Some with snake heads, some with snake legs, some with a weird snake upper body, like instead of having a torso with arms, you just have a snake body and a head. And all kinds of these different creatures. There doesn't seem to be any like most other races like Goliaths or anything like that. Just most of those races. And he's like, this used to be my home, the flourishing town, Zarthus, where everyone mostly got along. We of course had the stray rugrats, and you see a high elf in tattered clothes, and they're probably young mature, as they're like running through the street, like stealing random items and flying through. And we had shopkeepers, we had all these different everything you can imagine. And you just see a look of kind of sad goes through his eyes as he seems to be reminiscing about this town as he's just watching the daily business go by. You guys can all see it looks like a normal, average, everyday town as business is just flowing through. And he seems to be content with just reminiscing for the moment if anyone wants to say anything.
And Nia loves this spell, and she is totally enthralled. She's in Gelmar mode right now with this. She is
Dakota's
not
just
saying
like-
anything.
Very fair.
Dakota's just like looking out at all like the different species like coming like together and just kind of chilling. It's just like, it looks nice. Looks free.
It was. Back then, well, races didn't matter too much. It was around the same time, unfortunately, that the kingdom got plagued. It was a bad time for us to be in. But because the kingdom had a plague going through, they started to get scared. They started to find problems with the world around them, and as such, found problems with creatures that weren't like them. The stories of the Yuan-ti being abominations has been around ever since the beginning of this continent. And unfortunately, even in this time, it still stayed. You see time slowly progressing as he's talking, and you see it kind of gets to nighttime, and you see kind of the world moving around, and then eventually lands on a couple of high elves talking with one another. And the gist of the conversation that they say is like, have you heard about, the god the Yuan-ti serve? And one's like, no. What kind of god do they serve? I thought the gods abandoned us. And he's like, they're serving some kind of god that they need to feed people to, clear fear mongering. And he's like, they told rumors. They spread them around over and over and over. And then hours pass, days pass, weeks pass, and you see the town has changed a little bit. It's the free marketplace, of course, but now people are looking at the Yuan-ti with concern. They're keeping their distance a little bit. And the rugrat that runs across the street, like, they run up into a Yuan-ti, and the Yuan-ti's like, oh, I'm sorry. And they immediately turn around and fucking bolt. Like, they have fire on their heels. People got scared. As they always do. Any of you wish to say anything during this time?
I would like to insight on him. I don't know if I can insight this yet. I'm trying to tell if he's part Yuan-ti and he just doesn't have any features that show.
You're welcome to try inciting him on that.
Okay. Or would that be perception? Because I'm just using like his speech and his like reminiscing stuff to do it.
I would say whichever one's higher.
I think they're both the same. Yeah, they're both the same.
Okay.
I'll just do insight.
God damn.
Nice.
What you can tell, it's not very noticeable at first, but especially as he's talking, and you can hear some of his S's tend to last a little bit longer than they should. And then you also see, like, looking into his eyes a little bit more, they have very minor slits in them. And whenever he blinks, it blinks really weirdly. He almost certainly has some kind of Yuan-ti trait within him. But you can't quite tell exactly how much.
Got it. Ania won't say anything. Unless the
Okay.
others want to say stuff.
Dan, do you guys want to say anything while he's looking at this town getting more fearful?
Sorry, I'm actively working on a character sheet item.
Oh, you're good.
Cyril's just kind of listening intently here. He kind of feels that he's kind of feeling this pain with him a little bit.
Oof. Very fair. So he's on continue in that case, and he's just gonna be like, once fear rises, it's hard to quell, especially when there is a bad history. Eventually, the Yuan-ti start to realize this, and they start to separate. And you can see them actually like moving a little bit, and a lot of the Yuan-ti going back into their houses and closing the doors, and time passes and the doors don't open. And he goes, the next moments are going to be very difficult. If any of you don't wish to see it, please close your eyes.
Dakota closes his eyes. He's had enough of looking at things for today.
The baby.
That's fair.
Ania does not. Ania does not.
But he tips his hat over his eyes so nobody can tell he's closing his eyes because he's a cool cowboy.
I think I'll just say Galmar keeps listening.
Okay.
Cyril kind of like taps Dakota in the butt with his pole arm.
He glares.
Sapphire, do you want to keep your eyes open or closed?
Open.
Okie dokie. So, time passes steadily again, and he goes, after a certain point, fear grew too strong. And they had all believed that the Yuan-ti served a false god, and that false god made them take creatures and sacrifice them. And unfortunately, there was a very small amount of Yuan-ti who decided to feed into these rumors. Chaos starters. Although we never actually found if it was Yuan-ti or if it was someone else. But there were kidnappings late at night. Indiscriminate. Children, adults, everyone, everything. No one knew when it would happen, but everyone blamed the Yuan-ti. Unbeknownst to most of the Yuan-ti, the High Elves decide to take action, considering the kingdom is so close to Zarthas. They came in, and they start escorting people out. They escorted, in the middle of the night, every single individual who was not Yuan-Ti. And as the sun rose, and you guys can see this happening as he says it, as the sun rose upon the city, they put 100 spellcasters around the edge of the city. And as we were walking away, and I turned around, they threw every single fireball that they possibly had in their arsenal at the same time. The town was burned into pure slag, with every single Yuan-Ti inside. And then its records were wiped from every book that was ever created. And he waves his staff again, and the darkness kind of folds out and then goes back into a shadow as you're all back inside the throne room.
Nia's rubbing at her eyes. Teared up a bit.
That is why you have never heard of that town.
Strange. I'd heard the elves to be guarders of history. Why on earth would they eliminate something from history?
Well, they control history. They can do whatever they wish with it. Which means that they can tell you any story that they seek. And if they told the world that they had bombed a town because they believed the citizens to be scary, well, it'd make very bad trade, wouldn't it?
They want to make sure their reputation is squeaky clean.
Indeed. I hold very little love for the High Elves. Nor do most of my clan.
Why tell us this?
Simple. You seem to be fellows who are debating working for them. And I'd rather you not get caught up in the politics where you lose not only your life, but your history as well. Besides, I have ulterior motives. He kind of turns around for a second, walks back over to the massive coffin and sits down on it. He looks tired, especially as he sits down. He's like, he looks old, and he's like, I've been fighting this war for decades now. The Yuan-Ti are simply another thorn in my side, trying to get at me for some reason or another that I have no understanding about. They fight in the middle of the darkness, they steal my men, and they just keep coming. I assume it has something to do with an ulterior force, as the Yuan-Ti are not typically so savage. I blame the High Elves. So my goal, once I am done dealing with these thorns, is to take all of my men and storm the entire Star Shadow Kingdom and kill every single High Elf at the top of the tiers. I wish to turn that place into Zarthas.
Nia will stand up straighter. She'll speak up like,
I understand your reasoning, but And I know you've specifically said only the top tiers, but I'm sure you are smart enough to know there is some bad irony about it.
Oh, certainly. Which is also why, if you decide to join me, I will let you take out as any people inside that village that you decide to. I will nuke that entire city. I will turn it into rubble. But there doesn't have to be anyone in there for my point to be made.
Even if you don't kill a single elf?
No. They wanted to make it so that there was no information about Zarthus ever again. They wanted to hide away all their mistakes and their flaws and their pain. I wish to burn that entire city down, along with all the information that they have ever gathered in their entire history. I want to take what's most precious to them, and the lives of their companions is not what's most precious to them. Their history is what is most precious to them, more so than the lives of any one of their men.
Even if we were to try to convince the elves of what you are going to do, aren't you afraid that they would come over here if they heard?
That is one of the reasons I have not started my battle yet. If they manage to catch us unawares, they will nuke our entire city just like Zarthus. So it's whoever gets the surprise first. And I don't think you would be willing to let my entire city burn to the ground either. So I don't see you telling all of them about our plan.
Enya will go quiet and look to the rest.
It would seem they are a practiced hand at erasing things.
Indeed.
I doubt we'd be able to convince more than a few close individuals to leave.
And that is simply the price that they must pay. The blood is on their hands. Whether or not they choose to wash it off is not my problem. But if you wish to help me out with the Yuan-Ti, that is the goal you will be helping us towards. And I feel it pertinent to allow you to understand that that is the goal. As you all seem like genuinely good fellows, from what I can tell, and I don't think you would want to result in the murder of countless individuals without at least the knowledge of it.
Rule number 2 of the Cowboys Code, the law of which I am honor bound to uphold. Never harm a child, the unwilling or the innocent. The elves may not be innocent, but they are unwilling. And I know for a fact there are children on that tier, even if they're children by elven standards.
Indeed. However, if you inform them they decide not to go, are they unwilling? Or are they simply not willing to go? They understand the concept if you explain it to them. But if they don't go, is it your fault?
From dealing with high elves myself, I don't think they would believe 6 people, and even regardless if they would never believe you have the power or capability to do that, and therefore they would not give the words any credence.
Indeed. But you attempted to inform them. It is not your fault if they do not listen. I do not care what you do with that information. as I'm certain none of you wish to be the instigator of why my entire castle becomes slag as well. But whether or not you help me is of no consequence. I simply wish to give you the option to attempt to save those that you can if you decide to. The things I would do.
Do you have a time in which you are planning to do this?
Once the Yuan-Ti stop being a pain in my ass. We have enough people. I just need a big enough distraction. And then, well, turning that entire place to smithereens will take quite a bit of power. But I have a power source in mind. The only
And
thing
you'll
truly
look to the
stopping me
others
is the
again.
Yuan-Ti.
And he will look to the others again. She's not gonna respond right away.
Galmar looks pensive and uncomfortable.
Coda's just holding his gun under his poncho. Broods.
Birds.
And Nina will look back and she'll speak up. This is a lot of information you have given us. Would you, perchance, allow us to think on this for a day or two?
Absolutely. As I said, I do not care what you do with this information or how you use it. We will get rid of the Yuan-Ti eventually. It's just a matter of time. If you choose to help with it and the time goes faster, beautiful. If not, well, I have lived a century plus now. Time is something I have far too much of. So feel free.
Can we have a room here?
You may choose any room in the castle, aside from that one. He points to the, there's a room to your guys' right. It's like a whole, just a room. Like, it's just a normal size, like 8-foot door or such, on the right side of the entire room. It's very out of place compared to the rest of the room, but he just kind of gestures to it. He's like, don't choose that one. But aside from that, you may choose any room that you wish. My men won't bother you. They'll assume that because you've met me and you're not dead, that you're on our side. Whether or not you choose to be is still up to you.
Might I ask what's in the Forbidden Room?
No.
Worth the ask.
Let me see something real quick on.
Check your notes on what's in the room.
All right, cool. You guys do see a very minor twitch of the coffin under him, and Ania specifically, you would see he twists his hand slightly, so the bottom of his staff does hit the coffin, and it stops moving.
Oh, goody.
Oh, crap.
Ania will excitedly like raise her hand and like she's acting like more of her normal self. She's like,
Can I look at some of your Yuan-Ti memorabilia?
Oh, absolutely. There are thousands of items all around the castle. Take your pick.
and she'll be very excited. Look to the others to see if they're okay with this staying for a day or two plan.
Coda shrugs.
Regardless of what happened, we definitely could at least use a little bit of time to collect our thoughts, regardless of which direction we choose to go.
I have no ill will towards any of you. You've not done anything to me or mine, so there's nothing I shall do to you.
Sapphire's going to hear in her mind from the message stone.
Mhm.
Would be a good amount of time to gather some information to sabotage something.
make their plans take longer. Do you wish to reply to him, Sevar?
Since
Just point me in the right direction.
Fair. And you were saying to you?
If no one would speak up, she would bow again graciously and thank you very much for your graciousness.
He gives a small head bow to you. The very movement of that looks so ancient when he does it. It does not fit his physical body at all, but he does a slow head movement. He's like, of course. I have nothing but patience, nothing but time. Feel free to take up some of it if you'd like. Explore the castle, talk with my men if you'd like. And embrace to your heart's content the area we have. We have food and rations and supplies if you'd like as well. We have a fabulous baker inside of the castle. They enjoy making all kinds of pastries, but just don't have very many recipes for it. As you can imagine, it's kind of hard to get some when you go around stealing or stabbing.
A pity.
Indeed. And kind of gestures for all of you to walk out if you'd like. So he just kind of resumes his position that you guys saw him when you guys first entered, where he's just sitting there, staring blankly forwards.
I mean, he offered us rooms in the area, so I'm just gonna go down the hallways to go and see if I can find any.
Cool.
See what they look like.
Before Gelmar leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Gelmar, would you happen to still have the cloak and the pin? I can't remember if we gave that away.
Of course, I'm not one to give these away to a second new party permanently. He says, pulling them out and handing them to him.
I feel as if the good king here might have some information regarding this.
He kind of looks at you and he looks at the cloak. Oh, interesting. He waves his staff and you can feel a tug on the both the pin and both the emblem and the cloak.
I mean, I'm not going to hold on that tight, but I am going to be following them.
Fair enough. It kind of basically he's walking you over to him so he doesn't have to get up. And as it gets close, as it gets close enough, he kind of grabs them, and he specifically just grabs the emblem, and he looks at it. Ah, a symbol I haven't seen in years. Fascinating. This is the Obsidian Wyverns group. How do you know them?
They made off with my sister, and I would imagine countless other souls.
Ah. Well, the best way to describe them would be dragon hunters, an old group focused on either hunting down or raising dragons. They take a lot of individuals in order to use them as blood ritual sacrifices. Although, never seen one encounter one of them get out without a scratch. Impressive.
Wouldn't quite say no scratch, but that's my own business.
They had a necromancer with them.
Yes.
And she watches his reaction.
he stretches chuckles. No, not even the slightest bit of concern on his face. Like, yes. They do that a lot. They specialize in trying to drain dragon blood. They have this passion with hunting down dragons that they see as inferior to, well, he kind of gestures to the emblem symbol, the obsidian dragon that they appreciate so much. You could refer to it as their god.
So they're seeking to bring about an end to the extinction of the dragons by bringing forth new ones under their control.
In a way, yes. To the best of my memory, the obsidian wyvern that they pray to is a dragon that they believe will cause the end of the world.
Including them.
Indeed. They find it to be the greatest death that they could achieve.
Seems meaningless to me.
Most cults are.
Meaningless? And meaningless? No, that still feels... Still doesn't quite feel valid. Seems counterproductive, to put it kindly.
Aye. But in order to resurrect this creature, you would need a significant quantity of dragon blood, and considering we haven't seen a dragon in hundreds of years, it's not been a very big threat.
And now we've been unknowingly and unintentionally dragged into this conflict.
Indeed. They require the blood of other innocents as well. They need a large pool of it on top of the dragon blood. So there's been many occasions where they've kidnapped people, usually up in the mountains. There's a story about 50, 60 years ago, this paladin that saved a large group of them, but they either disappear for times or they wander and they bleed and they capture more. Who knows what this cult is true plans are, but to the best of my knowledge.
It sounds a lot like what's happening to the town.
You might be onto something, miss. I had not considered them to be a potential threat, but if they are stealing my men, well, I'll flay them alive.
Believe me, that is a detail that we both share. He already looks irritated.
He hands you back the emblem. Well, if you manage to find them and it's not the Yonti, that just solves another one of my problems.
Oh, it would be my pleasure. He says with a dark glare, putting both the cloak and the sigil away, and turning back towards the hallways.
They're based in the mountains, but they're working over here.
So my suspicions had gone. This was the direction they retreated.
Destroying, I suppose you could say, their base out here would only slow them. It wouldn't be quite getting rid of your problem, you guys. Majesty. I think Majesty. Yes, Majesty.
Any way you wish to refer to me, I've been called them all.
Given your extensive experience, would you have any information on where their base of operations is?
It must be somewhere near Stillwater. You cannot kidnap so frequently without at least being in the general proximity of the area.
No, I mean their main base.
Ah.
Above
Somewhere
game,
up
weren't
in
we
the
already above game? Weren't we already informed that it was in the spires?
I believe so.
Yeah, but that's sort of like broad brushstrokes.
That's fair.
He would say, let me look at the map real quick. He would say, if I had to guess, there's only a few areas on that mountain range which are hospitable to most creatures. And the Goliaths make sure that anything that's up there is quickly dealt with, unless they are strong enough to survive. The Mithril Citadel is notorious for not allowing much near it. And if they are hiding away, they probably are up there. So I would say that if you wish to look for their direct base, it would be the Frost Reach Highlands on the eastern section of the Iron Spire Peaks. There is not as much Goliath activity there, and depending on where you are on the mountain range, it's not completely frozen over.
Perfect. That's at least one target to pursue.
Hmm.
He kind of looks at Cyril for a second. He just gives a long look at Cyril.
Can I help you with anything?
You remind me of something, but I can't quite put a pin in it.
I would imagine so.
Well, in either case, if that is all.
Actually, and I hate to continue to keep you.
No, I have nothing but time.
First off, do you know the creature you keep in that mirror?
I do.
Do you understand its goals?
Yes and no. It wishes to be alone. To the best of my knowledge, that is all it truly cares about, is having the power to be alone.
Now, this may be me being perhaps a tad too forward. But there are other storms brewing.
There are many, indeed. There always
Some
are.
of which that thing is a part of. I fear continuing to use it the way you have been, maybe feeding it.
And what will it do when fed?
I am not sure. But
I believe something else much more dangerous than it would have more capability to do a great deal more harm.
correct.
Well, if you can find a way to destroy it, you're more than welcome to, assuming you have a replacement.
If I can find you a replacement, then then you would have no reason to feed it.
I have no use for the creature, nor do I care for whatever its desires may be. It serves a purpose, and that is all I require of it.
Hmm.
If you manage to find something to replace it in some way, shape, or form, you are more than welcome to. The only requirements I have is that it's a mental journey. The bodies must be left.
I guess we'll have to keep an eye out. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
we can ask that shop back in Haven.
Hmm. Yes. Yes, Grimly might actually have something.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
do have
go ahead.
I do have one other question.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon if and pardon if this is rude. What do you know about moon dust?
Moon dust. Oh, that's where I know you from.
Mhm.
You are that little bugger that keeps on fighting the moon dust agents. I see. Moon dust is not my product, I assure you. Honestly, I don't see the use or need for it. Not for someone like me, and any who decide to use it to get irreversibly stuck on it. And personally, I can't use a tool that is, well, too hyped up on a different tool, if you know what I mean. But it is something that has consistently been stumped against me, and it has been a pain in my ass for years now. Why do you seek it?
I don't seek it. I seek to remove it.
Oh? All these years, I thought you would one that were using it from how desperately you hunted it.
Dakota glances to Cyril, just surprised. He totally thought he was a drug addict all this time.
I don't
Papa Cyril, why aren't you using your drugs?
if you are as well informed as I think you might be, you would remember the great mill fire.
I was up near the Haven, was it not?
Yes. Tell me, if I was so keen on using it, why would I burn the main manufacturing plant?
I only got snips and reports that you were up there while it burned to the ground, and you killed damn near every person who set their foot on the grounds. I assumed you were a crazed addict that simply had lost all of their precious cargo.
Or it's so simple.
There are several manufacturing grounds around. Though I don't know the exact locations of them, they move every couple of years. I send my fellows out every now and again to scout to see if they can find it, but they've gotten craftier as of late. I know there is one inside the Elysian Glade. Last I checked, it was to the west of the ancient grove. They seem to have been using the Whispering Woods to hide themselves to a degree. It's difficult
Adia
to
looks-
navigate your way down.
Adia looks furious.
They have found that once you learn the Whispering Woods, you can use it to your advantage. And trust me, they use it expertly. There's also one inside of the Viridian Fields, although I've yet to be able to find out where exactly that one is. After you burn down that mill, let's say they took extra precautions. I have heard that there are many people who work on it, but if I recall correctly from my various scouts, goblins are the #1 producers of it, alongside high elves. Wood elves refuse to touch it as much as possible. They view it's a affront to nature itself. And humans, of course, will sink their teeth into anything that they can find. So there are certainly many of those. They may have started moving into the Gagar wastes, but that place is a hellhole I refuse to send my men into. So as you can imagine, I don't know much there.
If I needed a safe haven for an informant, is there a way I could contact some of your men in Haven?
In Haven? Next time you go into Haven, go and find the, what did I call it? I think it was the, oh my god, the inn that I mentioned inside of Death's Delight, Cyril, the Shadow Dagger, I think I called it? Question mark? Do either of you two remember that from the Play by Post?
You're talking about the other tavern that was in the outskirts.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was called the Shadow Dagger. It was really something we barely had a chance to
Is there
Interact
any
with.
term in there that we know for certain? I could quickly search for it.
I'm pretty sure it had dagger in there. Pretty sure dagger
Black
was.
dagger?
I don't think it was the
That's a
black
different
dagger because
thing
I
in
think
the
that's inside
lore.
the Shadowstar Kingdom.
Yeah, that's a
Maybe.
different lore.
I don't have
Yeah.
any dagger on either of my note files.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's from our previous
I look up the
campaign.
word. I will look up dagger in that campaign chat, and I don't see anything.
Dang.
The first time I see that text come up is midway into the battle between the druid and wizard.
Search up Jack, because you guys met Jack in there. I swear to God, I'll know this name at some point.
I don't have Jack on either of my notes.
Oh no, this was from the previous game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
okay.
one of the reasons I don't remember it very well, because this was like a year plus ago.
Yeah.
But you guys met Jack in there, so while you try to find out the name of that, I think you guys met Jack in there. I know you met,
Yeah,
I met
Jack was the.
I met.
Hmm?
Yeah, sorry. He was a member of Minla's group.
yeah.
Go find the placeholder name.
Insert placeholder name here.
Go to
But
the
yeah,
cool
I'll just call
place.
it Shadow. Give me something with Shadow.
Snake.
Shadow Snake. Sure. We'll go
then-
Shadow Snake as the placeholder name. That's the word I'm looking for.
And that
But yeah,
quickly became the only
Here we go.
name.
The Shadow's Den is what it was called.
Shadow's Den. I knew it was
Oh.
Shadow something. I couldn't remember what the fuck the other thing was, but Shadow's Den, yeah. So he pretty much says to you like, next time you're in the Haven, inside of the Shadow's Den, go up to the bartender and tell them Charlie sent you.
Okay.
Once you do that, you will have the same informant I do there.
Your name's Charlie?
It's a code word, child.
Oh.
Okay. I'm just making a note.
Mm-hmm. want to make sure that I didn't give you the wrong name, and then like fucking 20 episodes later, you guys are like, so the Shadow's
Shadow's
dagger.
Where is it? While Cyril's committing it to memory, and Nia will pipe up.
Could you stop sending people to kill Aloria?
Oh.
Are you still doing that?
You could like 100% see a look of like genuine surprise pop up on his face, and he's like, "Oh, why do you care?"
She's been quite helpful to me. And it sounds like you two had a fun fighting relationship going on where she didn't really have much of a threat. The last guys you sent were really bad, though.
Oh, the mercenaries. Ugh. Hate sending them out. Had to send out not my usual crew to go against her because my usual crew were busy trying to figure out things inside of Stillwater. So if you wish for me not to send dangerous mercenaries against her, fix up Stillwater, find out who I was kidnapping, and I'll have my men back that I can then normally send to her, and we can continue our normal exchange. I don't like losing people, so the mercenaries not coming back was not the most annoying thing in the world, but does make life more difficult.
Sound like you guys had like a very fun fighting relationship thing going on. The mercenaries did stick arrows in her and try to hit her with lightning, though.
Well, did you leave any alive?
No.
Good.
One, maybe. We still don't know.
Oh yeah, the frozen guy.
Well, if he's ever sent to me, I'll be sure he knows his place.
You miss her, don't you?
I miss everyone who's by my side and now no longer is. Once you live
Never
for long
understand.
enough, memories are all you have.
I'll never understand bandits.
That's because you were young, child.
He kind of like glances like down into like at his like 7-foot dragonborn form. It's just like internally going. It's like, I don't think I look that young.
Gain another century, and you may understand.
Oh, elf type standards.
It's so true. Dakota's just like, elf tactics. I see how it is.
And Nia will look to Cyril to see if he has any more questions.
I think those are it. So
Any
Cyril's
rule?
just kind of standing there, nodding along at this point.
Any of the others had any?
No?
Sapphire, Gilmar.
Gelmar seems more focused on other thoughts at the moment.
There's damn guys. Sapphire?
I don't have anything else.
Cuckoo.
And you will give a bow and she'll be like, thank you so much for all of your time, Roderick. And she does not use an honorific, but she's not trying to be insulting. She's trying to be casual for some reason.
Mm-hmm. He seems to take in stride, and he simply nods to you, and he goes, "Oh, I do have one question, if you will indulge me.
She twitches and lifts her head.
Yes.
What is the name of your team?"
She blinks owlishly and looks to the others, completely blindsided by this.
Above game, did we actually discuss this in character?
I don't think we have.
I
We have
forgot
not-
teams got names.
Crap, that's right, though. We actually had to have one to be registered at the Adventurers Guild, didn't we?
Oh, did we?
I would
No,
assume.
we didn't have one, and so they were just kind of waiting for us to come up.
Mhm.
I guess they don't like assign names to teams. They just see if teams get along first, and then they
Pretty
make
much,
up their
yeah.
own name.
They're like, come up with a name and we'll slot you in, otherwise you are a team.
Probably
Should
have
I
us
pull back
registered
up the
for
name that we
your
actually agreed on in private
Yeah.
chats, or?
Yeah,
In the
can-
chat, we came up with Vale's Equinox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ania
Alright,
can
who's suggesting it?
Well, I was gonna say Ania can be like, well, think on it, and then they can have time to think on it since they're gonna be
Oh.
around here anyway.
Yeah.
That is true.
And he'll look back like,
We'll get back to you on that. We've been really busy. I don't think we ever sat down to talk about that.
Oh.
Well, once you figure it out, do let me know. I require a name in order to give rewards, of course. I have more
Oh.
money in this castle than I shall ever need, so making sure you're well paid for the duties that you do is a necessity, but logbooks are important to keep. Feel free to take your time, wander around if you'd like, and take a moment to slow down. You don't get many of those, even when you get
Well,
old.
One last question here from here, sir.
Yes.
If I might ask, whose coffin is that?
That is the
I've
right.
I've been staring at it for a while.
I love it. It's the elephant in the room, and for like an hour and a half straight, you guys just like, we're just not gonna mention it. We're not gonna mention it. We're not gonna mention it. Dakota's just like, so.
Let's be real.
Right.
We've got indication that this person just isn't exactly normal in a lot of cases. Just like, we probably don't want to. Most of us are probably like, we don't want to talk about that.
He kind of like slowly blinks as he turns to you, and he just goes, "It's a coffin."
Yeah, but whose coffin? Was it just there when you came here, or you just... Was it always like right there?
It's someone's coffin.
Alrighty.
It's not ours.
It can
He
be.
glances to the other. He glances
No,
to
it's
the others
occupied
and then
already.
thoughts.
You can
And you'll
share.
just you can share.
Aw.
He's just staring dead at Dakota the entire time he's saying this. I don't suggest opening it.
You have to admit, it kind of sticks out.
No, it's meant to.
Just decoration, or...
I told you it's occupied.
Yes. I don't know who just rolled the 20.
That
You-
was-
Oh my god.
That was a DM
you see,
roll.
as you guys were talking about it, you see it start to rumble, and it starts to shake, and like
Oh,
the
you-
entire 11-foot coffin is like almost bouncing under him. And he just looks at you as you say, "Is it decoration?" He goes, "Yes."
Oh my gosh.
And you
Just
will
staring
say-
dead in your eyes.
We probably shouldn't talk about them. It's rude.
It's a chair.
Bouncy chair.
He
Real
kind of
bouncy
looks down
chair.
at it bouncing under him. He goes, "Yeah, it's almost feeding time." And he looks back up at Dakota.
And you turns around towards the door to leave.
Alrighty, let's get out of here then.
Yelmar has basically already started making his way down towards the other rooms, specifically the
Oh.
ones he pointed us to.
Are there rooms is just this the castle, or did he mean anything in the keep, outside the room?
Anything in the keep, anything in the castle. He basically is letting you guys have free reign. As you guys step outside, you see Alexandria kind of look at you guys as y'all step outdoors, and she looks in and she goes, "Oh!" And she grabs the door and shuts it. And she goes, "All right, how you guys doing?"
He likes us.
He likes people?
At this point, I just need something to punch.
Ah. Well, you can punch me. I take a lot of damage.
Do you
I'm
have
not exactly in the business of beating up random civilians.
I'm not
Well, you could
random, I'm
spar.
Alexandria.
You could spar.
Gilmar's just staring blankly, vaguely debating this.
Girl leans down to Galmar. I think she likes you.
She's like, "Are you a clown?"
I'm still trying to decide what that even means.
You're not a clown.
She's just staring blankly at you, waiting for your answer.
Maybe? Yeah, he just says with a
You're not
confused
a
shrug.
clown.
If you're a clown, I will kill you.
I still don't even know what the word means.
I can draw you a picture later.
Well, if he's not a clown, then I do like him. She pats your shoulder.
Thank you? He's just still kind of confused.
You're welcome, random citizen. She kind of leans in and whispers to you, "Don't worry, I take a lot of damage. You can hit me as much as you like."
He just stares down at his metal gauntlet. I'm not certain you want to hold yourself to that one.
Is that a challenge? And she grabs her gray axe and throws it on the ground.
Galmar hears in his head, she's kinky too.
Oh my gosh.
Ania will
Try to
Ania won't step in between them, but she does tilt over
Roderick said we could look anywhere we like, and we can even have a room here. We're gonna stay a couple day or two. So maybe we should all calm down after the mirror thing, and then maybe we can spar. Not me,
Nice.
Galmar.
He's just still staring at her. But she already threw down the gauntlet.
You can accept it later.
Anytime, any day, or night. I don't sleep much anymore.
Oh God, take me. He just is already with the glove up hand to his face.
Let's find the room first, so you have a place to go to after.
She kind of picks up the gray axe after she embedded it into the ground and puts it on her back. Yeah! Don't worry, a good night's sleep is all you need for a good time. Unless you find clowns. And then you never sleep again. Ever again. Just like this 1,000-year stare. I haven't slept in 2 days. She turns around and starts walking towards the rooms.
Right.
Do I have a sleep spell? I'm actually looking, do I have a sleep spell I can offer her later?
Can you get catnap is the question.
I don't think I have catnap.
Unfortunate. I think it's a level 3 spell. Just
I don't
put
have
someone
it.
into a 10-minute magical slumber that gives them the benefits of a short rest when they wake up. Assuming that rest is
Beautiful.
uninterrupted.
Yeah, she's just walking towards the rooms and she's like, "Don't worry, we have all these different rooms. This one's mine." She points to what honestly looks more like a prison cell than it does an actual room. It is so barren that there's just nothing in there. There's just stone flooring, a really shitty bed, and a single drawer that has a lot of nice stab wounds.
I was gonna say, let's not forget all the staff have have holes in the stones themselves.
Oh yeah. It's like, this is my room. It's very nice, very comfy. And she just keeps walking.
Seems the two of you have been together, or have seen a lot together.
So many fucking clowns.
Soul's Day must be our roommate here.
She guides you guys to another set of rooms, and they're all very much so, pretty much identical to one another. They're, nice flooring, which is a little bit of wood alongside like weird padding that almost feels akin to like fur, and then very simplistic beds and just general stuff like that. There's a lot of snake memorabilia in all of them, though.
Are there any rooms with like multiple beds?
Not really, but the doors are wide enough that you could shove beds into there if you'd like to.
Just grab all the beds.
Yeah.
Group room.
The rooms are pretty spacious, so.
Okay.
So is the lady still here?
Oh yeah, she's just standing there. She's not
Yeah.
really staring at anyone in particular. She's just staring through between some of you.
Just kind of like sort of approach her and just be like, "Hey, miss,
Yes.
you've been here for a while, right?"
She starts counting her fingers. 1, 2, clown. How many
Yeah.
clowns have I killed?
No,
Sure a
no.
lot.
Ears here. Ears
Oh,
here.
right,
Focus.
Right.
Yeah.
Years probably.
I have to. Do you know whose coffin that is?
She stares at you blankly.
The one,
There's a coffin?
the one that the Roderick King guy sits on.
What does he look like?
Something like.
What's Roderick
thought
look
you-
like?
Thought you did the
Have-
test.
I did.
Did you succeed the test?
Of course I did. I killed the clowns.
Then didn't you meet Roderick?
Why would I do that?
Because
So
the
what'd you do
test
the
is
test
over.
for?
I did it for fun. And because the goddamn clowns. But mostly it was because I wanted to see whether or not I could kill whoever was my greatest fear. It turns out I can.
Oh,
Oh.
I've never actually walked in the throne room.
do you know anyone here who has?
Probably the guy who escorted us.
Yeah, probably that guy. Which guy?
Let me find his name. I thought I got his name here.
It was Cade.
He's Kate. Oh yeah.
Cade?
Oh. Yeah. I fuck him every Tuesday.
What?
Whoa.
I thought he had
Okay.
a thing. I thought he had a thing for. Oh well, I guess they're pretty open here.
I guess some humans are a lot more open about that than others.
We would do it more often, but every time I wake up and start stabbing the clowns, he gets concerned.
Hmm.
Hi.
You
Druids are
know,
pretty
I
open like
think
that.
we should all get some sleep.
I think that
Yeah.
sounds good too.
Yep.
I should too.
You probably should if you
If
can.
you've been up for 2 days, then
Mhm.
yes, you definitely need to
You,
get
you
rest.
see, as you're talking, you see her slowly start turning to the left, like her head starts turning to the left towards one of the windows.
No. No.
She
To your
reaches
room.
towards her belt and pulls out a knife.
And he
I
will like
see
go
them.
behind her.
I see them.
No, you don't. They don't exist here. There's
I
no.
cast sleep.
Yes.
You have sleep? Oh, thank God.
Roll those dice. Let's see if you get
Yeah.
over her health, I guess.
You have,
Uh,
yeah. I think you could roll. I think you can roll level 2 sleep. I think.
Depends on if she wants to upcast it or not.
We're not
I
gonna
don't
do
know. I don't have access to Foundry, so I'm just
Ah.
rolling
Oh.
the d20, right?
I think I can look at your sheet.
No, it's a 5d8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Close.
And then, can you upcast it?
I have
Oh, you
no
can.
idea.
Speaking
Oh, wait.
Okay.
I
Technically
think
speaking,
I
you can upcast any spell even if it doesn't get an additional effect.
I think I rolled woe today. I think I can give a bonus 1d6 minus to it.
Ooh, that could be useful.
I think I rolled woe.
So
Did
you can
I-
either roll a 5d8 or 7d8.
Just so it's clear, I'm pretty sure rolling above her health only knocks her out for a minute.
This lady might need that minute.
Wait, no, I rolled wheel. Okay, I can't minus her.
Mm.
Okay, so it's just 5d8 or 7d8?
Depends on if you want upcast it.
Do I?
She seems to be very tanky based on her interactions with Galmar, so probably upcasting would probably help considering her health.
So period
How's sleep?
7d8, right?
How's sleep work?
So
You roll
Nice.
a bunch of dice, and if the total winds up above their HP, they get knocked unconscious, no save.
Oh no.
now she does look somewhat injured already. You don't know if this is because she is herself or some other reason, especially with her tiredness. So I'm going to say that does work on her for various reasons. And as she like pulls out her knife and she starts walking towards the open window area, Sapphire, how's your magic appear?
I haven't thought about that. Let's see.
You can take your time.
Well, it says the components are rose petals, so I was just thinking flowers of some, like them floating around or somehow.
Oh, that's cute. Okay. Oh, it could be like the flowers in your hair. You
Yeah.
like brush them towards her. That'd be kind of cute. Yeah. So you basically like, just like flick your hair out and you like brush your hand through it, and the petals and stuff in your hair like flow out towards her, and she's walking towards the window and just goes, "Huh, that smells nice," and just topples over.
Good job.
Shka-boom.
She
That was a good hit, miss.
looks
She'll
like
probably
she could
feel a lot
use
better.
that rest. He just says, slowly
Yeah.
walking up and trying to carry her to her room.
She's
Enya will try to
surprisingly
help.
heavy. She's
Define surprisingly heavy. My carrying capacity does not say here. Dang it.
she would not be particularly heavy for you to lift. She's probably around, let's see, I think Ania's like
270 pounds is my limit.
yeah, I think
or my
Ania's
heavy
like
weight limit.
100. She's about 150, even though she's roughly the same body type as
Oh,
Ania.
Yeah, that's
Oh yeah, I literally carry more than that in my pack.
yeah.
So Ania like tries to lift her, and she's quite a bit heavy for Ania. Galmar just fucking picks her up like she's a lightweight ankle
Just,
wrist
like,
monitor.
Just like puts her front side like over his shoulder.
To the bed. All right, cool. Yeah. So you basically plop her onto her. Honestly, it's more like a pile of hay than it is an actual bed. So you kind of just purr down in her room as she kind of like curls up into her weird pile of hay. She seems genuinely kind of happy.
She probably needs this.
Turn around, try my hardest to get out slowly, very poorly because spiked boots and because rattly armor.
She's around.
She has not seemed to notice. You close the door, and yeah, she's fucking out.
The old sneak out of the toddler's room.
Thank you for the assistance, he says, looking back to Ania.
Hopefully she'll be in a better mood tomorrow. After
she in a
you
bad
stay up
mood?
that long. Well, when you stay up that long, you start to hallucinate.
Hallucinate. That's when humanoids view scenes that aren't there, right?
Yes, without magic.
Can't say I've ever experienced it. Sounds like it could be fun occasionally, though.
Some druids stay up on purpose for a few days.
Really?
Druids are pretty varied and have, like, different rituals or customs they like to do to achieve different states of spirituality, and she'll, like, be explaining as they're walking back.
Well, I think that's happened to me a couple of times way back when.
Really? What was it like?
Bad. Very bad.
Can you elaborate?
No.
Based on my own experience with others hallucinating around me, it is off.
It's like a state of, I guess you could say a state of half dreaming. 'Cause you dream, right?
Of course, every now and again.
Well, you know how in dreams you'd simply accept things that are absurd as just the way they are without giving them much thought?
I suppose that's a fair way of phrasing it.
Well, hallucinating is a little bit like that, where when you finally go to sleep and you wake up, you're not sure what actually happened or not, or if what you saw was really there, or maybe, like, for example, druids will use it as perhaps a way to see into other planes.
Other planes of existence. Interesting.
Or so they claim.
I really must find out how this works later on.
Well, you could stay up a few days.
Tempting.
Ain't we got things to do? I don't think we can afford to have our friend here off his game to the extreme.
Well, in the future, we should figure out, do we want separate rooms here? We could probably drag the beds in. I don't think Roderick will care much. I think he likes us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can pretty much do anything.
I imagine if the room is big enough, we could all comfortably fit. How big are these rooms that we're looking at here?
How many beds can they fit?
They could probably fit like about 6 beds with a little bit of squeezing. Take out the dresser in there. The height wise, only Cyril will be impacted.
What about impromptu bunk beds? Just like stacking these on top of each other.
You could certainly do that.
Friends?
Hmm?
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yeah, you could make impromptu bunk beds with probably a couple of dressers and like weird lineup and play on top. It'd be a little bit more difficult, but definitely something you guys would be able to do, especially with Gumar's competency in crafting. And I believe in Neo's too.
Yeah, Neo works a little bit with wood, mostly with leather.
And if worse comes to worse, we could probably make them stick together a bit better with something like batons or something.
That's true.
No, maybe not. I guess batons are usually better for holding a tent up.
Mm-hmm.
I do have stone shape. I could just make a stone bed, and it would be permanent. I think I have it readied. Yeah, so
you just made a stone shape
like
5
a
feet.
floating bed frame.
Yeah, it just comes out of the wall. It's just a floating bed frame.
By the way, is this we're seriously thinking about this sort of thing?
Yeah.
Because if that is, I might need to double check how my fire runes crap. I did not mean to send that. I'm just trying to read it.
You're good.
I just need to double check what its passive does. Double proficiency on crafting checks.
No, wow.
Not bad.
So you pull out fucking stone from the wall into the shape of a bed and toss was effectively a mattress on top of it. You guys now have a bunk bed.
That is just fascinating.
Oh, are we
Ah,
saying
you're really
that Ania
awful.
went ahead and... Are we saying that Ania just went ahead and did it?
If you like to, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine. So she will like go up to the bed and she will touch the stone near it, near where she wants to fashion the bed, and the stone will just move into like a frame, and it has like little supports reaching down,
Mhm.
and maybe like a little ladder if that's able. It says a 5-foot cube, so it won't be like a very large bed, but it'll have like at least the start of it.
Dakota
I
just
wonder,
kind
a
of
woman of wonders.
I can only do that once a day. I think
Dakota
the bandits will
awkwardly-
like it, though.
Still very impressive, though.
Thank you. I just have been able to mold things much easier lately. I can do it much easier with dirt. Stone's a little bit tougher, but
Actually, can mold earth move stone? Hold on. If the dirt or stone you target is on the ground, let's see. Loose dirt. Okay, yeah. It doesn't specifically do stone unless I'm just.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, no. Choose a portion of dirt or stone that you see within a range and fits within a 5-foot cube. You manipulate it into. I can excavate it. I cannot, like, shape it into complex shapes, though.
Yeah. You basically disturb it and move it and
Mm-hmm.
dump it other places.
it's much harder to make it into an actual shape like this. But this isn't, it's not temporary, and she'll pat it. This is permanent.
Very much is impressive, then. And he just says, giving it a couple knocks. Don't worry, he's doing it with his leather gloved hand, not the gauntlet.
It's pretty sturdy. Yeah. It honestly, the way that she pulled it out, it now looks just like the rest of the walls and stuff like that, where it blends into it. So it looks like it's been there almost forever.
Although I
You
trust
couldn't.
Roderick quite a bit, I don't really trust the other bandits here very much.
That's fair. Shall we have a watch then?
I could just sleep with my back up against the door.
That probably
Would
work.
be
I don't
pretty
think
hard
they're
to
that
move,
smart.
Cyril.
At that rate, I'd just as well. I'll do it. He just says, unrolling the musty carpet he kept from the tower.
Which turns out to be
Nah.
your most bothering.
Nah, I'll sleep. I'll sleep over there. I never found myself terribly comfortable with beds anyway.
Yeah, Dakota always sits sleeping up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I hadn't paid that much attention.
I noticed that too.
I try
I
not
know
to
what-
draw much attention to myself.
I know why I sleep sitting.
Because your antlers get in the way?
Yes. Usually I find the best sleep in a nice thick pile of straw in the barn.
You know, you could just take the helmet off every now and again.
Oh, it's not part of the helmet.
It's not, he says, turning to the side with a hand to his chin again.
I love the idea that this is the third time that Galmar in character has been told this or learns this, but he legitimately forgets it every time, and he's just like, huh. And he's just
Poor
fascinated every
intelligence,
time.
my friends. Poor intelligence.
I love that he's fascinated every time he learns it.
Ania will look up to
Love game, I am an
Cyril.
idiot.
No. Ania will look up to Cyril like,
Do you ever shed your antlers like deer do? I haven't seen them do it.
Well, the strange thing is that these don't shed. They simply continue to grow like tree branches.
It's weird. Deer antlers only usually grow when they're still fuzzy.
Correct. I
that
would say that my condition is a very special case.
That means you don't get to look intimidating when all the fuzz starts sloughing off and bleeding everywhere.
I would say that I'm intimidating enough without the sloughing flesh.
I feel like that would be more terrifying. Imagine him
will-
running towards you and just he starts bleeding everywhere.
To answer your question, Galmar, I actually cannot remove my helmet.
He just like stares up at the antlers and looks down. That makes sense, I suppose.
It's simply the way of my order.
He just tilts his head confused. So it would physically be possible if it weren't? Again, he's just looking.
If I were to take a room, if I were to take a room all to myself, close and lock the door, I could remove my helmet.
Oh no, that wasn't a against tradition sort of thing. He was just trying to figure out if that was physically possible with just the size of the antlers. It's like, would those fit through the holes?
The helmet is specially designed. Unfortunately, Borin was not the blacksmith I went to, so you won't be able to pry any information out of him.
A pity. I would have loved to learn how to craft a tool such as that.
The young man who made this helmet is most likely dead by now.
I know that and for certain individuals it's rude to ask the question, but how old are you anyway?
I am quite a bit old.
He's just slowly nodding, not even bothering to ask further questions.
Can I use mold earth to like move the other beds along the ground to our main barracks room?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is just like walking alongside beds and like moving them across the ground while Cyril and Gilmer are talking, and she's like making sure to put the stone back afterwards.
Hot 2, 3, 4, hot 2, 3, 4, on
She's
the
like
way.
marching the beds.
That is adorable. Alright. And I believe you guys want to talk about your group name as well?
Yes, it would seem Cyril kind of like sits back against the door. It would seem to be that we have been so focused on mission after mission, we forgot the, I suppose, vanity project.
What makes a good group name?
I'm going to be honest with you. The closest thing I ever had to a group name was merely what the order called my contingent of soldiers.
Dakota, you know a lot about. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Cyril.
And that was just, what's the word I'm looking for? Practical.
She'll look over to Dakota. You know a lot about naming things. Do you have any ideas of what makes a good group name?
Probably something with something that gets across the purpose and the sort of imposingness of our group per se. I mean, what do we as a group sort of stand for? I stand for the Cowboys Code and for honor and for freedom. But what do we as a whole sort of stand for? You know?
Well, most of the group belongs to the Shields. Me and Sapphire belong to the books portion of the guild. So most of our group is about defending people, solving problems to the public in general. I think me and Sapphire also generally just look for information, offer it to everyone.
Hmm.
Gilmar just like taps his face a few times. Iron tomes, he says with a shrug.
Oh, like an iron shield and tomes as in books?
Hmm.
I don't think books are that much of a presence. It's less books and more secrets and knowledge. I'm trying to find out more about the Yonti, and I will be going out there later and looking at everything, so I will probably not be here for a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see us as being very iron either.
Yeah.
You and Cyril, maybe. And
Yeah.
Rue.
Yeah. Feels too solid. And also, I mean, the Iron Warfare is already kind of have the whole.
Oh, true. We would
Yeah.
look like copycats.
Yeah.
It
What
does
do you
seem
think,
to be.
Sapphire? No, you go first. Go ahead.
It does seem to be a common thread among us.
What does?
Well, we all seem to be connected in some way to the actual natural world around us.
Dakota twitches at that.
Sapphire, do you have any ideas?
Not really. I'm still thinking.
Mm-hmm. Something that sort of, when they see our group standing over on the hilltop over in the distance, sunset behind us, we're standing on the edge of it all.
Just like all those old stories.
Exactly.
I don't. I mean, I like the idea itself, but I never really see myself as part of a group that is over on the horizon. I mean, and she'll look a little bit uncomfortable looking away and holding her staff closer. It wasn't a few weeks ago that, I mean, what everyone did in that mirror was so much more powerful than what we could accomplish just a few weeks ago.
Mm.
We've also
I
faced
don't
dangers greater than we've ever faced before.
I don't know what happened in that tower before, but I knew we got more powers, but it's just so much more, and we don't really know why. That's definitely something that connected us. We all got some sort of vision. of some sort, and they weren't even connected visions.
But could those visions still have a connection with said name?
Vision's always a good name in a group.
That's fair. Well, from what we can gather from those visions, we're gonna end up standing on the edge of something greater than all of us. Sort of equinox of fate itself. That's a quote.
Hmm.
That's a quote.
I love how
That's
above game we all actually know where this is going to end, but none of us actually know how to slowly work our characters in that direction.
No, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even have to go with the actual name we thought of. We could just come up with a different one on the spot, but that was a really good tie-in.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's a quote, yo. God. If I ever write the Dakota books, I'm gonna have to add so many quotes.
No, that's pretty cool. That's a good quote.
Has a nice ring to it, I'd say.
Equinox.
Which does.
Huh?
Isn't it a little bit long?
A little bit.
Sapphire brings up nature's heroes.
I hesitate to call ourselves heroes. I mean, we are helping people, but doesn't calling ourselves heroes seem a little bit egotistical?
I was thinking more about the nature part. I mean, we got a lot of us that are tied into nature, but I'm more tied into sand and dust.
Nature?
It's still a part of nature.
They're desert druids.
Do we have a desert here? I mean,
Yeah, the Gagar
obviously we have a
Wastes.
desert. I mean, where else would I come from? But not one there.
Gelhard just like pulls out one of his runes, flips it a couple of times, and like at the coin. I suppose you could also say that
Where
magic in
else
its
would
own
I
way
have
is
come
a
from?
I guess you could also say that magic is in its own sense a form of nature as well. He says before stowing it back in a pocket.
And he just sort of leans over to Dakota, is like,
Oh, does that mean you came from the Gagar Ways?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wink.
Okay, I need to actually double check something real quick. I heard that the residents there are quite strong entities. Did you perchance get the opportunity to have a few sparring matches with any of them? What are they like?
And he is very proud of herself and steps away.
Oh. I fought quite a number of beasts and bands, as it were. That's how I learned to shoot so good. Or to think I came from.
I'd like to go there one day. Above game, I actually missed most of that. My headphones actually, he freaked out at that given moment that I said my last word.
No, you're good.
Yeah, Dakota just said they fought lots of beasts and other such things there, and where do you think I came from?
Honestly, fair.
Yeah.
And Neil will go back to thinking on the name thing.
Equinox reminds me of sort of eclipse type stuff.
No, an equinox occurs twice a year. Once in spring, once in winter.
Right.
Druids like the equinoxes very much. That's usually when festivals go on. I think Haven probably has a festival for at least one of them.
Well, at this rate, we might only finish two missions in an equinox or in the year if this keeps going as it is.
That is true. We are going quite far.
A sort of rarity that brings about sort of things. So equinoxes probably has a lot of meaning for it. We're an equinox. That's the sort of thing we're trying to get across.
Well, the
We cannot
words.
generally that that day of that day when things are changing.
Mm.
Oh, that's a good take on it. Hmm. And before talking about nature and visions, we were sort of able. My vision came from another plane entirely. Like, I'm pretty sure it was, or I was on another plane somehow. Where were all of your visions from, or do you even know?
My vision was pulls out his gun. My vision was with my patron. Person that gave me this whole thing.
Do they exist on another plane?
Kinda, if you're familiar with the Shadowfell.
Hmm.
The what now?
Well, Shadowfell. I don't know much about it myself, but it's where he kind of likes to squat. He's not from
Do
there.
I
Just kind of
do
lives
I
there.
You must have
I
really
know
strong
anything?
legs.
You, I think, would know very little bits and pieces of the Shadowfell in name from a couple of Feywild books and general fairy tales and stuff, but nothing concrete or specific.
Okay. Do I know it's like another plane of existence?
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
usually-
it is actually a plane.
Yeah,
of
it's
shadow.
usually compared with the Feywild. The two of them are usually seen as opposites.
Mhm.
I guess something to do with interplanar
Mm,
planewalkers.
that's a
Hmm.
thought. I mean,
Sapphire
know
is quite
that-
literally a planewalker. Yeah.
oh yeah.
I mean, walking is reasonably easy, though.
Well, I
Well,
know
it is.
the Yuan-Ti are planning to summon something from another plane, so
That's true.
it's kind of like that's gonna be a reoccurring theme.
Ania has a small crisis and is like,
God, we're dealing with planar beings, and the guild doesn't even respect us. They think they think we're silly.
Hey, no, we got this. We shot some stuff up before.
They don't even believe us.
They will eventually.
Mhm.
On the
And
subject.
quite frankly, the the beings we are getting our true missions from are what really matters, I think.
On the
Yeah.
subject of the guild, how much of what we've learned do you think we can actually tell them?
I have no idea.
Well, Roderick said we could basically tell anyone anything. It's more of if we're ready to accept the consequences of what will happen. He doesn't even care if we tell the elves about this place.
Yeah.
He's just so certain that we won't.
Well, if we gotta stand on the edge of the veil of it all, then and shoot it all up, guess we'll have to, yeah?
That's also a fun word.
Mm. Standing on the edge of the veil.
Is that a quote?
Quote? Yeah, it's a quote.
It's a good quote.
Maybe we're the veil
Yeah.
piercers.
No,
I don't know about veil piercers.
You know,
veils hide secrets.
I-
As well. What are you saying, Cyril?
I think one thing that we consistently find ourselves doing is that we tend to be standing right there at the beginning of something changing. We stand I suppose it was a word that one of the scholars would use.
On the precipice, Sapphire says.
It's similar. Event.
Horizon
Yes.
Oh, that works too. Horizon,
of a new dawn.
sunset, with sunrise.
That does have a nice ring to it.
The scholars indeed know about black holes. I just heard event and I said horizon right away. I totally forgot what event horizon actually was.
Like, I know what it is, but if you play with the words enough, it stops,
Mhm.
it stops being a bad thing.
What does that mean?
I mean, let's be real. People probably do still know of Spheres of Annihilation, which would basically be the same thing.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's how they describe certain magic spells and how they work.
We see the event horizon, and then we cry.
Like, Cyril just remembers the cool word. Like, his memory has fucking holes all over the place.
That's a cool word.
I like the word veil because it has multiple meanings. It's another word for plane, and it's also something that hides things from others, like a mask or
We are being entrusted with many secrets at this point.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
veils, horizon, veils, equinox, veils.
Veils. Sorry, what you say now?
No, I was just because I like the word veil, so I was just like going through it with other words to see if they sounded nice.
No, go back. You said one that sounded good.
Veil. I thought veil walkers, veil. Veil horizon, veil equinox.
I like that one. I like that one.
Do you? It's a little bit long.
It's a little bit, but it kind of has this sort of fancy ring to it.
It does sound really fancy.
I like it.
Will people laugh at it?
I think
Nah.
fancy would make them take us seriously.
I think.
Or
I don't
it'll
think
be like.
they'd be laughing for long.
So you do think they'll laugh?
If they do,
Then I'll shoot him.
No, you don't shoot people just because they think the name's funny.
I don't know. That sounds a bit like injustice to me.
And Dakota
I think
reveals
these
that they're
headphones are on.
truly chaotic evil.
I'm
above
kidding.
him, I think these headphones are on their way out. They just did it again. Dang it!
Oh
No,
no.
Dakota was saying they would shoot anyone who laughed at it, and Neil's like, "You can't do that."
No.
We might not even have to. I don't think too many of these other adventurers would exactly quite qualify for a lot of what we're pulling off.
I
True,
mean,
it does sound fitting for us being all contacted with visions.
Your town about to be saved by the Vale's Equinox.
Oh, it sounds
Hands
way
up,
cooler when
man.
you say it. Your accent makes it sound a lot cooler, actually.
Hands up, bandits.
Gelmar just like puts both fists in the air like they're celebrating or something.
Well,
Hell yeah, don't shoot me. Hell yeah.
you can sit on it until we talk to Roderick again.
Only Dakota can say our group name. It
Oh
sounds
my
best when
gosh.
Dakota says it.
It's the Veils Equinox.
And Dakota gets to strike the pose every time.
Gotta do that Power Ranger pose where all of you guys like get to position, specific positions every single time it's said.
Oh my gosh.
No, what
Oh,
is it?
man.
Can you
Dakota
force?
Dakota or Sapphire, someone casts prestidigitation for like a little bit of wind on his poncho.
Yeah.
I think Druidcraft can do that as well, actually.
Yeah, Druidcraft can and Nia can.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I love that.
Druidcraft, you create a tiny harmless sensory effect. Wait, no, that's not it.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that when when we talk to the king and tell him our group name.
You
Yeah,
gotta
it
lift up his
says-
poncho a little.
It says you create instantaneous harmless sensory effects such as falling leaves or a puff of wind, so she can literally do it.
You just like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Just make the poncho fly.
I love that.
Beautiful.
I guess we
I
can.
think we've found something. I think we've
Yeah. We can sit on it until we talk to Roderick again and see if we still like it.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll have time to think of another one.
All right. Well, with that being said, and all of y'all characters gonna get a hopefully good night of rest, possibly haunted by the screams of your own self, or the thought of clowns attacking you, because apparently that is just a common nightmare around here.
Does anyone tell Galmar what a clown looks like?
Nobody
Ania-
has, no.
Ania would be able to like touch the stone and make like an image of a clown just appear because she has that power.
Oh god.
there you go.
You just suddenly you make a clown's face and everyone's like, that's my new nightmare.
That makes
like
sense
there's
now.
Sleep
Just
spell
like,
last.
there, Galmar's just like, he
What?
looks very pale. And then just like a random dagger just flies through the door and smashes into it or something.
She's not even in here, and the dagger goes through the stone.
The sleep
I
spell
mean, you
itself.
jest, but the sleep spell only lasts for like 1 minute.
Yeah, it lasts
Oh.
for about a minute, but depending on
They can
if the
just keep
person.
Picture her
sleeping.
barging in as the clown starts appearing.
Oh god. She's like,
Oh
here's
my
what the
gosh.
clown looks like. Here,
Comes to check
clown,
on us for
what's
something and sees a clown.
Clown just starts coming out of the wall, and she's like, "It's going to die."
Just cloud is just like the code word for her. Crud, what's the word I'm looking for?
Barbarian
Sleeping
rage.
Sleeping agent. It's like her sleeping agent code word.
Oh my god, it'd be beautiful.
Sleeper agent, my bad.
Yeah.
All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Next episode, we may or may not see her breaking their wall to pieces because a clown face appears. But if you guys want to see that, we're going to be popping up again next week at 6 p.m. PST on Friday. Specifically, is going to be Friday the 20th. We have a bunch of other things that we're going to be doing throughout the week. Usually on Saturdays, I do stuff like solo games, like I believe I'm playing Hyperlight Drifter this week.
Oh,
But
that's such a good game.
I know, it's so
Yeah,
fucking good.
Yeah, your first episode actually actually he got me to go look through my own Steam library, and turns out I've got a copy in my shared library as well. Good fun.
It's so fucking good. I'm so excited to play again. But on the 19th, sorry, I'm fucking dying here. On the 19th, we're going to have a special event. I'm going to be playing Lockdown Protocol with a bunch of folks that have kind of supported me over the long little while. It's going to be at 11 p.m. PST on the 19th. We're going to be playing Lockdown Protocol with Wally, with Rogue. Let me just double check all my names here real quick. Reverie, Vani, or Vanitus, as you've seen her a couple of times. Lissard, Roxas, and their friend Fred. I believe that's 7 other than me. But we're going to be doing that very late at night. So hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying seeing that as our 200 follower milestone that we have reached. And it is fucking awesome. It's a good feeling. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed all of our content. Hopefully you guys will enjoy a lot of it. We're also going to be going on break on January aside from D&D. So all my streams are going to go kind of dark aside from D&D on Fridays. inside of January so I can work on fixing a whole lot of stuff, editing stuff in Discord, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So there's going to be a whole lot of changes, whole lot of adjustments, whole lot of things that I will be producing and adjusting and editing and things like that. So February is going to be a very interesting time when we get to it. And if you guys have not already, please go check out Storyestry. She is a wonderful friend of the channel and a fantastic sweetheart. But we are going to go ahead and... Oh, actually, I haven't gotten to raid Miru in like forever, so we're going to pop over to Miru.
Yay!
And we're going to give her a little bit of love. She might be getting close to finishing her stream, if I can remember how to spell her shit. There we go. But as oh, that's a shout out. Whoops. Raid Miruku, not shout. Well, I mean, shout her out anyways. Go check her out if you guys are interested in seeing her, but we're going to be raiding her as well. So feel free to copy that first message if you guys are following, second message if you guys are subscribed. We're going to check her out, say hi, kind of blast her existence into awesomeness. She's playing Cat in the Box, which is a game I've never heard about. So we're going to just check her out, say hi, and I'll see all of you guys next week, 6 o'clock p.m. PST. Bye!
Bye!
Take care.